Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Media Challengers Roadshow. Something tells me that me and my co-hosts are probably the only people at this table that even need an introduction.
I think so.
The rest of the gang,
don't.
or the reason why these people have decided to congregate in this cute little cafe on a Sunday morning, which we appreciate. So who are we?
Am I going to introduce you? This is my colleague, Zhongshi.
I'm the news anchor from CGTN. This is my colleague, Angela.
Hi, your official personal trainer for the Media Challenger.
And who do we have at the table?
Where should we start? Do we need any introductions?
Please, ladies first.
Ladies first.
You go first. Okay. Let me figure that out. Hello, I'm Xingyue. My English name is Lila. I'm from California. And yeah, what other information do I need?
Exactly.
Hi everyone, I'm Dongshui. I go by Serena. I'm a CGTN news reporter. I've been working for CGTN for about 3 years, and before this, I was working for another one of the major U.S. news outlet based in Beijing. So, to sum it up, I've been in the news industry for about 8 years.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Raz. Chinese name Gao. Sorry. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Raz. Sorry, it's Sunday morning. It's tough.
It is. And it's early.
I'm Raz. My Chinese name is Gao Yousi. I've been in China for 12 years and counting, half of my life. And I create content. I love traveling, and it's a big honor being here. I'm from Israel, by the way. Yeah, I didn't say that, I think.
Excellent.
Hello, I'm Brian. My Chinese name is Gungbi Yang. I'm from Argentina. I've been in China also for 12 years, and I am I am in a TV show called 非正式会谈 for already 6 years. Yeah.
Wow, 6 years.
Yeah.
It's a TV star.
No.
TV celebrity. So since for the Media Challenger, we are recruiting presenters, journalists, and also influencers, KOLs, and that's why we've invited our guests today from each of the field. And also Zhongshi here is also acting as part guest because he is representing Team Anchor.
Team Old Media.
Exactly, because Zhongshi here is also he doesn't just anchor for CGTN, he's also now running your own social media.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm a very old dude who refuses to concede he's too old for new media. So I'm trying and surviving.
And previous to all of that, you were also a journalist for
I
CGTN.
was.
So you're probably the best person to kind of tell the whole story of being a media professional.
I will certainly try.
Excellent. So without further ado, we can start all the questions. And also for all of you sitting here today, if you have any questions for our guests, for anyone here, just raise your hand and our colleagues will go around with microphones and you can ask your questions. They can be anything, maybe.
And a shout out to all the people that have come to our little event today. We are joined by also 30 students who
I think
we
more
feel,
than that now.
More than 30 students
Yeah.
who we feel have great potential in becoming the next media challenger. We really are hoping that this event will provide you with the tips and advice on how to do just that. So welcome again and thank you for coming.
Excellent. So first, I really want to know, because you guys introduced yourself and you had a Chinese name, I'm just curious, and also Serena has an English name. I'm curious on how you guys came up with the name or who gave you the name.
All right. I mean,
You
want
go
me to
first.
start?
Yeah,
Wow,
go
my
ahead.
story is interesting. So my name is Raz. That's my English name. So back in the days, I was living in Hong Kong, and I had a teacher, a Chinese teacher, and she was like, "Okay, what's your Chinese name?" So she told me, "Okay, let's make it similar to Raz." So she said, 肉丝, which means meat in Chinese. Literally, she's like 肉丝, and I was like, wait. And I was like, no, I don't really like it. I don't think it makes, like, I don't mind, meat sometimes. But so she was like, give me 2 months. I will observe you, and then I'll give you a very unique name. And then after 2 months, she came to me. She said, after observing you, your personality, she was like, 来自很高的保佑，产生真正的思想, which means coming from a high blessing to create true thoughts.
And you were blown away.
I had no idea what it meant. I'm like, what? I'm like, what am I, like a philosopher? I'm like, I like that.
Like
Gao
Plato-esque.
Yousi, because so it's just like tall and high targets, blessed by God something because I guess I'm religious. And
Was
I'm
this
Jewish.
a teacher or a fortune teller?
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Well, she thought I was a thinker, and I was like, "Am I that sophisticated?" Like, so, I was like,
That's high praise.
"Yeah." So that's my story from my name.
That's fun.
And Xingyue is such a beautiful name too.
It is. It's pretty.
Thank you.
Is there a story behind it?
Because my name is Lila, which means night. And so then I was like, okay, like what should my Chinese name be? Like if it's like 夜晚 or like 晚上, like that's not a name. And so I was like, okay.
晚上好。
晚上好。
So
我有个
then
同事叫明天。
So I was like, okay, like what is something that like has to do with night? And I was like, oh, like stars, like I like stars, like maybe I'm like a starry person, I don't know. And so I was like, okay, like Xing. And so then I feel like I'm a very like kind of optimistic person. So it was like 来自星星带给你快乐的女孩子, like come from the stars and bring you happiness.
Every time I cry, I go to her. She's very helpful. No, seriously, she always cheers me
And
up.
you make a wish upon a star.
Ding.
And that just made me feel bad about my name. I mean,
中式。
you know, I didn't have, my name is Zhongshi because my dad studied geology in university, so all he dealt with every day was stones and rocks and pebbles, and
That's cute though.
that's my name.
It's like hardcore.
It's hardcore. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And something your dad loved. Exactly.
yeah, true.
And then Serena.
Well, my name, Dongxue, xue in Chinese means snow, right? So I came up with my first English name as Snowy. So it's quite like makes sense when you think of it in a Mandarin way. And then, so I remember when I was in high school, I did the exchange program in the United States. So the first day I met my host family parents. So they were like, oh, your name is Snowy. That sounds funny though. I was like, oh, okay. And then I gradually like realized is how ridiculous
They put
that
it
name-
very delicately for you.
And then-
Interesting.
That's interesting.
yeah, but I like the S, the word, like with no reason. So I just like Google online. So I just randomly chose the Serena. So I ended up being Serena for the rest of my.
I love
Time.
that name. Like Gossip Girl, right?
Oh yeah, the Serena in Gossip Girl.
And then last we have Brian.
Well, my Spanish name is Brian Gonzalez, right? But if you read it in Spanish, it will be Brian Gonzalez. So the first syllable of my last name is Gon. So Gon, Gung, it sounds similar. And then Brian sounds similar to Biyang, right? So what my teacher wanted to do, it was like, because I participated in a competition after 5 months of learning Chinese, and I got the first place. And she was super happy and said, okay, this, this success, you have to make it bigger in the future, right? So it's like 成功必须发扬光大下去. Right. That something like that.
Amazing. Like how much effort they put into choosing a name.
I have a high school friend. It's called Brian as well, and his Chinese name, he's from Canada, is Byron.
Byron.
Literally like white person. I'm like, should work on that, bro.
You guys have really philosophical names. Now, maybe we need to go to a teacher to get like new names. Like,
We
Well,
like our names.
actually, our teacher, that's because our teachers gave us our names, right? Because if we do that, probably will be Byron or like Damiran, I don't
Roast.
know.
Some people call me Raz Wads. Wads.
Yeah.
Yeah, computer stuff.
Now that we're on the topic of beginnings, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't think any of you set out to be an internet personality, or you have this idea in your head that I wanted to become, a personality on the internet. It just sort of happened along the way. I mean, Xingyue has been looking at her first days in Beijing in your latest video, and how you grew from, very fragile, defenseless, helpless little girl, and then to this person that is so hugely popular here in China. When you reflect on how you started, what was that like? What happened for you?
I feel like it was just very like random. Like it wasn't like a whole like growing process or anything. It was just like, so Raz and I were friends, and then like he was always doing like this like soccer thing, and so I was like, okay, like
He
he's
did
my
that
class.
soccer thing last night.
Yeah.
I did football thing.
Oh, we got the English, American English.
Soccer, football, whatever. the 足球. So
There we go.
so he was always like my classmate, like doing this thing, and then one day he like asked me, he was like, hey, like, do you want to like do a startup? And I was like, I'm not an entrepreneur, like, why are you asking me this, dude? Like, and then but he was like serious about it, and like I had always been doing like behind the scenes because I studied film in university, so it was like I did like more directing and producing. And so I didn't really want to be like in front of the camera because I'm like a very like awkward person. So I was like, you know, that's not for me. But then like one time, like just like randomly, I was on camera, and then like just from that one time, I like gained a lot of followers, and so then we were like, okay, maybe we need to like rethink that statement of not being on camera, and then yeah, just kind of slowly started doing more, and then we started like co-hosting the show, mostly because we were still in university and we still had classes, so like one person doing it the whole time, like we had to kind of tag team it.
So one thing led to another, and it just
Yeah.
sort of happened. Was it as random for you, Brian?
Yeah. Yes. Basically, yeah. In my case, was different because I started participating in a TV show first, right? So there was a casting process and everything, but I got selected. But I never thought to be on TV and not even like being a, I don't know, social media personality or whatever. So for me, it was like the first step was being on TV, and then because of that, I started doing some social media, of course, because we have to do that, right? And then I started doing more stuff by myself, and that made and lead to the opportunity to be more in social media and having more fans or like followers like
So
that.
at the time, the TV program seemed like a one-time sort of thing. You had no idea what was going to happen
Yeah, totally.
after that.
Yeah, totally. For me, it was like, okay, let's try and let's see, let's have fun, and that's it. I'm still having fun, but it made more serious right
No,
now because
you're
it's
on it for
part of
6
my
years.
life. Yeah. 6 years already, and the time flies. It's like, okay, I feel like it was yesterday, but then I'm seeing my videos and I say, oh my God, I was so young. Yeah. So right now it's like. It's super interesting though, but to see all the process, like all these 6 years, right now I'm very happy with all the outcome. Yeah.
Raz, it seemed to me that you were.
It wasn't random for him. I think he had a plan.
It was
maybe.
less random for you,
had
and
a
you were
plan.
one of the earlier pioneers. You were sort of, you know, giving people a nudge in that way, in that direction. Did you sort of know that this is what you wanted to do?
I started studying at Peck University in 2014, and I had no idea I was going to do anything. I just wanted to I wanted to graduate. I was like, this is going to be difficult. 4 years in Chinese studying international relations. So, and then my father inspired me because himself is an entrepreneur, investor. And one thing led to another, and I felt like I wanted to create something that connects cultures. Given that I was this foreigner, that I'm always the only Israeli everywhere. I'm always the foreigner, and I was like, I want to build a connection between the people, the local people, and me, and the people around the world. And the first project we did had nothing to do with social media. It was about, as you say, something with football. Because we felt like we wanted to create culture connections based on common passion, and we felt the easiest place is sports.
That's true.
I was last night watching a football game with people from 20 countries, and we all celebrated when Chelsea won. Some people were sad because the other team
Don't
lost.
point at me, it's not me.
So we felt that was the best entry point. But then later, to create these connections, we needed to create content to attract people to come and experience football stuff, which I'm not going to get into now. And then one thing led to another again, and then we realized that the best way to create culture connection between the world and China is videos. And then another thing led to another, again, it's 2 or 3 years in the process, I've met incredibly talented people in my university, in Peck University. Yes, I'm sitting here in Tsinghua, I'm saying Beida. Yeah. And she's absolutely brilliant. Like, she's a talent. She was known in the university for her talents, and I always felt like if I cannot do this on my own, you know, and then
Why
also got to
not?
know Brian, because on your own you can't do anything. I can't even wash my own clothes. You know what I mean? Like you can ask, you know, Lila and Brian about how much help each other doing this stuff, like, you know, anchor videos is needed.
Yeah.
And if I went on alone on this, I would probably give up early. And luckily I got to meet her. Later on got to know Brian, got to know the team, and we just started building videos together. And a few years down the line, we have so many talents. We just make videos together. And if we're popular or not, it's not the most important thing. It's just about the fact we love to create these cross-culture videos. And yeah, that's our story.
A bit more on the technical side, when you said that you couldn't have done this alone, was it more of an issue of time or distribution of work?
I just couldn't edit videos.
Talents.
It was
yeah.
time.
Who did that? Xingyue edited the videos?
Well, she can edit and plan and everything. But we found other teammates from my university and other universities. Actually, we also have some Tsinghua people in our team. And we have some university, Chuanmei Dashui, and we have people from all around China. It doesn't matter, it has to be the Tsinghua Beidais. And they just fill in for a lot of what we need that we don't have. You know, you gotta empower yourself with people to help you. And technically, until today, I still use iMovie.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. I mean,
You know?
it is tough, and we know in media, I think a lot of the audience, when they see the final product, and they see something that's completely done and a final cut of everything. But they don't actually realize the work that goes in. It's like you film, you have our cameras, our technicians, the sound people, and then in the background when they do the editing, I think that's the hardest, sifting through all the resources and putting everything together, and then finally you create something that's presentable to the audience. But the thing is, like, people don't really see, like Lila before, what was going on.
Yeah, we're not trying to
Behind
scare
stage.
you off. I keep thinking what their
Yeah.
experiences, you know, tell those would-be
Potential colleagues, yeah.
vloggers and internet personalities, what takeaways they can get from them is that in the beginning, you never know. You never know if this is going to work. You never know what type of content you want to do.
Yeah.
So the first thing to do is really to start doing it. You can go solo if you know how to edit videos. And if you don't, you recruit people.
You team
Your
up.
friends from your inner circle.
6 years ago we started, there was not many editing tools besides the
yeah.
PR and Final Cut.
Final
Now
Cut.
there's apps that you can do all on your phone.
Oh, it's so easy.
I'm like, if I wish I had that back then. Because I really can. And now we use a lot of these apps
Yeah.
as well. So
No, you
anyone
don't.
can use
Otherwise,
it.
you'll never meet Lila.
Yeah, you wouldn't
and
have
everyone.
needed
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank God there were no
these
apps.
people.
Thank you. I don't want these.
But then, like, for Serena, it's something very different. I think out from the start, you probably knew that you wanted to be a reporter.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of like nurtured to be a journalist when I was a little kid. So my parents put me to watch the CCTV news at 7 o'clock. I suppose most of you have heard about that, right? So I was, they put me to watch that news when I was a little kid. And then I'm a boring person because I don't,
I don't think so.
You're not.
because I read a lot. So yeah, so I started to write my own stories. Like, you know how I was keeping a journal since I was like 6 or 7 years old. Whatever I wrote down doesn't matter, but I just like keep the journal since I was a little kid. And then I went to the journalism school. Well, technically it's not a journalism school. I went to Purdue in the States. In Indiana, close to Chicago. So I was majored in TV production, but specialized in storytelling. So by then I was like writing scripts, doing my own stories. You know, you can see a little tiny girl carry a giant camera and tripod running through the campus. Yeah, that was me. And then right after my graduation, so I got a job with a China business network based in New York Stock Exchange. And then after that, I moved back to China for another U.S. media outlet, and then here I am with the CGTN. Yeah, it's a long. It's an exciting experience through all these years. I feel like I get to meet different people every day. Like, to me, like, every day is fresh because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like even later today, I might get caught up to, oh, there's breaking news happening, you have to go there. You know, that's the excitement for me to being a journalist, I think.
Serena, you just got me thinking, because we haven't had college majors in, I don't know, in being internet personalities. I suspect there will be in the future. And these people, they did just fine, you know, exploring on their own and succeeded. And for the people that are considering a job in journalism and being a TV reporter, if they didn't study journalism in college, do they have a shot? Like, I know we have a lot of colleagues in the office who didn't study journalism at any point in their life, and they're doing just fine.
Exactly. Like, as you mentioned, we have a very diverse colleagues with their diverse backgrounds. They could come in from PR industry. They could come with like econ majors, or they could even
learn English literature.
Yes, exactly. But that's the beauty of journalism. I think like once you are a human being with the curiosities, like you have to have the intentions to know what is happening there, especially when you are the reporter on the field, in the field, and then you are the person who have to take the responsibility to tell the stories. You have to get the curiosity. You have to figure out, you know, the history behind this person or this place, or why this is happening, and what people have to make up for, you know, all these damages and everything. So I think learning journalism as your major or not would definitely not going to be an issue for you guys to entering the news industry. So as long as you keep an open mind, like be curious, I think you will be a very good journalist in the future.
But be advised, there are a few technical hurdles to cross. You're not going to get friends who edit your videos at CGTN. You're going to have to do that all on your own.
Yes. Have to carry your own equipment a lot of the times, right?
A lot of the times you have to be physically fit.
Yeah.
But for you, the road is, you kind of hit the final goal in a way, because
I
now
wouldn't call
you're
it
sitting in the
final,
studio.
yeah. But it's interesting because I think all news anchors are in essence reporters. We've all been reporters. It's very funny because in China we have college majors called 播音与主持艺术, where in theory when you graduate, you can work as news readers, you know, over with the Mandarin channel. But things really are changing nowadays. Even if you study 播音主持艺术, now when you graduate, they're not going to put you in that anchor desk behind the table. You're going to have to start with being a reporter, a writer, an editor, because the job is a lot more complicated now. It involves a lot more than just news reading.
Yeah.
Unless your final goal is to be on 新闻联播, you're going to have a lot more diverse skills to handle the responsibilities assigned to you as a news anchor. So I think in essence, a lot of their responsibilities, a lot of their skill sets are the same. It's a different work setting that is still exciting.
It's true, and especially with the changing dynamics of the industry. Before, I think it was very clear kind of the social medias and the mainstream medias, like the TVs, the mobiles, and the computers. But now everything is kind of merging together. You just can't be one type of personality, especially with Brian. He's on TV and also doing his own social channel. And I know you guys, Serena and Zhongshi, are also starting your own social networks, and you're getting a huge traction on TikTok.
That's an exaggeration. You just made me feel bad in front of these people.
But I mean, like,
But always
how is
expect a
that?
very steep learning curve,
Yes.
no matter what phase you are in your career, because there are always new things to learn. Sometimes I do feel that age is an issue when I try so pathetically on social media to prove that I'm not too old to learn. You know, I'm like that
You
parent.
look 10 years younger than me. Look at this.
You're kidding.
Look at that.
So sometimes I feel like that pathetic parent who wants to catch up with their children and make TikTok videos just to prove that they're not dinosaurs.
I
So
mean, like, is age really an issue though for social media? Because you do go on social media and there are across different ranges. You have like little kids and you have older, like I know I follow a lot of the older ladies who are very
Older
wise.
generations, yes.
Exactly. I mean, is that really an issue, or is that just kind of a mindset?
I think it's a mindset. I think it's a mindset. And the thing is, like, if you are getting older, as I am, I don't think it's a problem to say, you know? It's like, okay, I'm 30 now. And what's that? Well, thank you. So, I mean, it's not that I want to prove something that I'm still young. It's just I'm this age and I still can do it. I think there's no problem with that.
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, we're all content creators.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter like if you're like 3 years old, like 6-year-olds, or like 70 years old. As long as you can provide valuable content, I think there will be a place, a market there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the reason that we had kind of this stigma in the first place is because it used to be only young people using social media. So if like the only people who are on like these like apps or like social media websites are like, you know, like 18 to 20, then like, you know, if you're like, you know, 30, 40, 50 and you're like, oh, I want to make content, then there probably wouldn't be much of a market for you. But now like all like age ranges are using social media. Like you'll be like on like the subway and you'll see like, you know, a
Those
50 or
grandpas,
60-year-old.
like,
Yeah,
swiping
like,
TikToks.
Yes, everything.
yeah.
So it's just like finding your target audience and making that content that fits them in a way.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like so many people watching social media and there's only, you know, people who are like 18 to like 22 making the content, like they're gonna feel left out. You know, it's a very inclusive market right now.
Yeah, and well, just to add, for me, because we've been doing it for 6 years, 5-6 years, it's the audience grows with you. Like
Yeah.
the audience age changes. I've seen somebody came to me, he's like, 我看着你长大的. I'm like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 25. I'm like,
Yeah.
you didn't watch me grow up. You say 20 to 25, yeah. But like they grow, so they go from high school to college, and college to work, and then work to have a baby, and then their demands change, and a lot of people don't have time to watch my videos no more. And I'm like, oh, but then they have a little baby or they are really busy on work, and I understand. And then you have to think, how do you readjust to this new generation of young people you're trying to attract? Or are you actually understand them enough? And yeah, but again, the mindset is, it's a mindset. It doesn't matter how old you are, but the audience, you need to understand, sometimes there's slang that if you say it, they're like, what do you say? It doesn't make any sense. So you have to kind of adjust yourself according to your audience, target audience, as you mentioned. Target
I
audience.
can't help but think that our audience members are thinking, this has nothing to do with me, this age issue, because they're all college students. They are. They're in
One
their-
day there will be that issue.
One day. We're
One
being
day.
very proactive. And I'm very aware that we've used a bunch of words to describe what our influencer friends do. We've called them internet personalities, influencers, wanghongs. I mean, when you look at your own work now, and I've checked out all of your accounts, you do very creative contents. Raz has been sort of a travel bug lately, taking people to a bunch of places, Boao, a rural village in
Experiencing,
Guangdong.
Yeah, and Macau, that
And
like, oh.
Xinjiang.
And
Been
Xinjiang.
everywhere.
And Xingyue has been very self-reflective, looking back at your earlier days. And Brian has been talking to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I do all
And
the
I
time.
quote, 颜值很高的20岁的小哥哥, super good looking,
Exactly.
20-something lad. I mean, it seems to me very diverse. How would you describe your own work now? Is there a constant theme that you're going for? Because I didn't see that. I think all of your contents are very diverse. So let's start with Brian. When you decide on what you create,
Well, I think the process of creation of content is like reflects us, right? We are complex people. It's like we are not only, I don't know, like for example, 美食博主, I mean like gourmet or whatever.
particular category.
Yeah, one particular category. I mean like we are complex people. We like a lot of things. And for example, I really like history, politics, geography, I don't know, Chinese culture, but I also like foreign culture and everything. So it's like trying everything and it's reflecting what I am. So the content is one part of me, and that's what I'm trying to show. So it's like the whole thing.
I'm sorry to jump in. So I know you guys are all like creating very diverse content now, but when you just started, do you have like a main theme? Like let's say if I were you, you might be thinking, oh, I want to be like a pretty young lady teaching you guys how to say English properly or things like that. Do you guys ever thought about the main theme when you just started?
I think some people they do like that. It was not my case because I didn't know what to do. So,
So just do everything.
Yeah, just do everything. You know, it's like okay, that's me. And yeah, but for example, it's a process of knowing what fits you and what your audience like also.
So you're
it's-
doing it while figuring out
Yeah,
which
yeah,
works
totally.
best for you.
Yeah, totally. I don't know you guys.
No, I think that's one of, sorry to cut in, but I think that's one of the advantages of social media because there's probably a lower benchmark, there's a low investment. So you have that time to really discover who you are and what kind of content you can, because you can literally just keep on making content until something works. But I think maybe for TV, it's a bit different.
Yeah, I think as a news reporter, I think we don't get to choose our topic that often because we got assigned to breaking news that you cannot calculate at all. So, but apart from that, I think if you want to do some feature stories, let's say you want to profile a person, like one of the richest in China or one of the, let's say one of the greatest person in tech industry or aerospace or things like that. I think for that type of feature stories, you will get a lot of time, planning to figure out what kind of story you want to put on this person. But for like breaking news, you just have no choice. You just get to the field and figure out what is going on and tell all of the sides of the all of the facts to your viewers, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as reporters, you're assigned the work. But we were talking about this earlier, because a lot of what you do now is your assignments are self-inflicted.
Yeah.
You get to decide on what you create in your videos. What's that like for you? Like, how do you come up with ideas? Where is your inspiration coming from?
It's kind of just from all over because it's not like this is the only thing I do. Like we have a whole channel. So I have two channels. Like one is our Why China and then my personal one. So, I'm working on that channel and I'm having a bunch of meetings every day. Sometimes we have to go to different places on a business trip, travel. So I'm always just doing all kinds of things. So sometimes it just comes randomly. Sometimes I'll just be having a conversation with someone and be like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll do a video about that. Or I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm I wanted to go here for a while. Maybe I'll do a vlog here. So it's all kind of very random. And sometimes it's even from my fans, they'll send me a message and be like, I'm very curious about this. Can you do a video about it? And sometimes they'll be like, oh, that's actually a good idea. And so it's a kind of special relationship I feel like with my fans because we grew together. And so sometimes after seeing my content, they have something that they might want to see in particular. And also sometimes I will ask them a while ago, before the pandemic and we could travel, my dad came here. And so I was like, okay, he's been to Beijing before. I want to take him somewhere new. And so I asked online, I was like, where should I take my dad? He's been to Beijing and I want him to have a good time. And then people were commenting, giving me all these suggestions. And then I think the top comment was go to Xi'an. So I was like, okay, and then we went to Xi'an. So it's it's not just me. It's my followers also, and also, my teammates.
Yeah, it's two-way, basically.
Yeah.
Interaction.
It's an interaction, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to
What
share
about
my
you?
little story? Well, I early on, when I just started, I realized something very true. I don't have any talent. I can't sing, I can't dance. I'm not really good at Chinese. I'm not really good at anything. I love economics and I love reading books. Again, boring. And I'm not as interesting. These people are interesting, really. You watch their lives, they're interesting. My life is not so interesting, really. So, but then I came up with this concept because I saw so much misunderstanding from my friends back home about China, and I was living and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I need to give you some more perspective, more. So I wanted to show China to the world, but at the same time, I noticed a lot of Chinese have a lot of misunderstandings about foreigners. So I wanted to show the Chinese what foreigners are like. Yeah. But then I realized something I'm actually good at, and that's bothering people in the streets. I'm really good at making friends quickly. I'm really good at talking to different people, different cultures, and how do you say it? I can be shameless.
That's a talent.
And they know it.
That's a real
And
In
talent.
Chinese, thick skin.
I
right?
owned. I was like, I'm weird. I'm shameless. But you double down on that, and I went every day for 3 times a week after class. 我没有逃课. A little bit. Maybe
On
just
record, on
yeah,
record.
I'm already graduated, so it's okay. Thank God. Oh, it's done. But I went and I interviewed. I negative 10 degrees Beijing Wudalco. I would stand there from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and I'll just interview 3 people out of like 20 I tried, and they said no. And I just did it over and over again. I just did one thing. Different topics about China, but one style. And I just did it, and until today, it's 5 years on, I'm still going to the streets making interviews. Because when you find something you're kind of good at, just keep doing it. It might work, you know. And then later on, we developed some other formats of videos. But the first one, that's how we started. I just literally went to the streets every day. And then
How long?
luckily, Xingyue joined. If she didn't join, I'll probably be like, I don't know,
On the streets.
I'll be done. It's tiring, yeah.
Those were difficult times because you didn't know that you were going to get a good result,
No,
or
no
result
idea.
product.
No.
I mean, how long did you have to do that before it all came together and you knew this format actually worked? I'm going to do this more.
If you guys watched our videos in Wudalco, that's actually much later since we started doing interviews. The first time I personally did interviews was in England, London, interviewing football fans outside the stadium. Later on, I went to Paris to make in the Euro of 2016 to interview fans around the world in the Euros in Paris and then other cities in France. And then in the same month, the same summer, I went to Rio, to Brazil, to interview people in Brazil. So I was in 3 different countries making street interviews, and not many people watched it. And then I came back to Beijing, and I was like, well, should I go to class or should I? Yeah, I should go to class. And then, obviously, and then I started interviewing people here. And then it just caught up. It took a long time. A lot of hours, days, months, years, a lot of time. And but you stick to it. You stick to it. And
It doesn't always work out in the beginning. I guess the takeaway is that. And Xingyue did some street interviews too. What was that like for you? I mean, this is an easy format that a lot of people are copying, right? If they want to do it, how should they brace themselves?
I think the biggest thing is you need to be shameless, because people aren't just gonna walk up to you and be like, "Oh, is that a microphone? I would love to be interviewed like right now. Ask me anything." Like that.
If only, right?
Yeah, it's like it does happen like maybe once every like 3 months.
Yes.
But like for the most part, like it doesn't happen. So you have to like go out and like ask people like, "Hey, like can I interview you?" And then, they'll be like, like, "Who are you?" Or they'll just like I had like this one girl. I was like, "Hey, can I interview you? Like we're doing like this video," and she says, "Shut up."
No, she didn't.
I know, and I was like, "Okay."
So anyone that's
Yeah.
watching this video, if we approach you, please just be kind.
And look, obviously,
Yeah.
when she goes and interviews,
We get better
and with me, it's
results.
like she gets much more people. Be like, oh, looks like she's trustworthy. This guy. Okay.
No, but at first I couldn't do it. Like I didn't have the courage. Like
Yeah.
he would have to come with me. Like
I would get people for her.
yeah, like he would come with me, like help me like ask people, because I was just so like
Timid.
yeah, I was like, how do I like go up to like a total stranger and then just like ask them this? Like it was like very intimidating at first. But then like you realize if he's out there doing it and I'm just standing here, if we're both going out like looking for people, like we'll get more people. So like eventually I like started, and now it's like no big deal.
I love those behind the scenes stories because a lot of the times people see the end product.
they don't.
People see how easy it gets for you to just go interview people in the streets. And sometimes when they try to do it, these are the things that stop them in the very early stage. Because if you're not so thick-skinned, you get chickened out and you just quit,
So
right?
prerequisite of to work in media is to have thick-skinned and
That-
be shameless.
That's true
Across
for both
board.
old and new media.
Exactly.
I think so.
So when do you think is a time when you guys kind of realize, oh, I made it, or I'm an influencer or a key opinion leader? Was it a time where you kind of saw the numbers and like, oh, something I can
Got like
continue
over
doing?
million viewers.
Yeah, like what is that number? Because I see a lot of social media, even overseas, and even celebrities, they get so kind of caught on with the numbers. They're always looking at who's viewing my video, how many millions are we hitting, how many subscribers do I have? Like, when does that end? Or is there a time where you just don't care anymore? Do you still kind of look at those numbers?
It never ends.
Right.
Like you're always looking at them. Like even like when you tell yourself it doesn't matter, you can believe it somewhat, but it's always like in the back of your head. Like why did this video do so well, and then the video I did right after has like half the views or like less than half. Like, you know, you kind of use it as a way to like measure your own value, even though you shouldn't do that. But you know, to some extent, like you always do, at least a little bit. It's just always there. So there's, you know, to answer your question, there's no end, and you know, you can like do all of this, you know, like 心理建设, but it's not going to, you know, it's just kind of a warning to anyone who wants to like
Get
do
on this train.
Yeah, like, you know, it'll always be one of those things you're thinking about, and so it never ends. You never get the answer. You're like, okay, I have 1 million followers, that's all I need, and now I am perfect. Like, you will never think that.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, you get those things and you are always, well, like we are always looking at that. But at the same time, when we have like a comment of a person that we really touch with our content or probably a done more or something, it's like, wow, what I did, it's worth it, you know? So at the same time, it's like probably this video didn't hit too much people or didn't, but someone watched it and he liked it or changed something in his mind or whatever. That's worth it, and you say, okay, I'm doing the right thing. So it's a whole thing. It's kind of complicated what is going on in our minds.
Mentality and I think that competitiveness, right?
Yeah, it's never like the numbers that say you made it. It's the people.
Yeah, totally.
When we reached 1 million followers a few years ago, I was kind of excited. I was like, wow, what happens now? And then they made me wear a cosplay of Lolita, and I was like, is that what it feels like to wear like a? And I was like dancing like. Nice. To be honest though, the first time I felt like we have kind of an influence was when I just had 1,000 shares on Weibo of one of our videos. Just 1,000个转发. That was probably the first and only time I felt this like that before from nothing to something.
And that's how long after you started?
That's at least a year and a half.
Okay.
Do you still remember the story?
Yeah. Well, I just remember it was for our Weixin Hongbao.
Like you did an explainer of what
we
Weixin
did a
Hongbao
few
is?
interviews about what people, foreigners in China, think about WeChat and Hongbaos, and we realized that they know how to use Hongbaos better than the Chinese. And I was like, better than me. I was like, hey, you should be friends.
Send me hongbao, right?
But that video, better thing, two things happened. A big account shared it. We're like, what? And then 1,000 people shared it, and I was like, this is it. We're making it. And to be honest, since then, I don't care how many views we got. I never felt the same feeling that then one time. Because when you break that little ceiling first, everything comes much more like, you just become like more like motivated. You're like, whoa, okay. And then you start like doing a lot of things, and you maybe reach a lot, but you're like always reflecting. And then you're getting a lot of social stress. You cry a little bit. You get up, you talk to Lila. She cheers you up. You know, Brian doesn't just like judges you. and then later on, to be honest, I did something quite extreme. I don't really use social media. I don't watch social media a lot. I know it's like, and it's not a dramatic announcement. I just don't think it does good to me. I just don't. I watch so little. It's what I need to see.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. It's all the positive stuff, like the likes, the dranfas and everything. Because I think between the three of you have like 30 million followers across all platforms. That's huge. But then how do you deal with the negativity? Because you have trolls online and you get comments that's just not kind for whatever reason. And I think that's a lot of people who are posting content on social media, and that's what's holding a lot of people back, because they're always wondering, are people going to judge me? Am I going to be hated for my own kind of thoughts or my perspectives? And I think a lot of the time that's what's holding them back. You need that kind of shamelessness and that confidence, but a lot of people just probably don't have it. Is there something that we can do, or what do you guys do when you face that, even for Zhongshi and
I'm
Serena?
surprised that people are actually hurt by those comments, because I thought that people who work in media sort of, you're required to develop thick skin and you're sort of immune to negative or mean comments. But I had a friend, a colleague, who started Douyin way earlier than I did, and she just quit. And the reason was that she just couldn't take the mean comments on Douyin. I was surprised, because I thought that we are a lot more thick-skinned than that, and we can, you know, just work
Brave it
our
through.
way around negative comments. And apparently that doesn't work for some people. I mean, has there been a point in your life, I mean, Brian talked about this, you are touched by good positive comments, but what about negative comments, hurtful comments?
Negative comments or hurtful comments, they will always be there. It's like normal that we have.
Haters gonna
Yeah.
hate.
Haters gonna hate. It's always like that. So the thing that you have to change is how you see them. It's like, okay, oh, another hater, okay, fine. Or say, oh, it's talking a lot of things, like, oh my God, why you have to write this much for something very small, and then probably, why? Okay, block. Okay, block.
Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah, you have
That's,
to do it because
that's
it's for your
therapy.
own health.
Yeah.
It's for your own health. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't do it, it's like, okay, you're keeping all that bad energy around you and will influence your psyche and probably will make you sick, because actually it does. So what you have to do is like, okay, be happy with yourself, be confident of what you're doing, and then get, come on, you can have like 1,000 good comments and probably one bad comment, and you only see that bad comment. So what you
That
have
happens.
to focus is on those 1,000 comments, right? Because those are the ones that are important. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not liked by everyone.
Yeah,
That
of
just-
course.
that's just
I'm
the
not
same for
like,
everyone.
yeah.
Even in real life.
In real life, it's
Yeah.
like that too. Yeah.
And you're not discouraged now from any of the mean comments you see, right? You've developed sort of an immunity to
No,
them. You
I
can-
think I don't have an immunity. I think, okay, probably they will hurt me sometimes, but it's like, okay, it hurts me in the moment. I say, okay, it's another one. You know, it's like, okay, it's a hater. What do you want to do? It's like, if they are very courageous, they will find me and they will say it on my face, right? But they won't. So, don't worry.
I mean, what about Lila? Because you're an optimistic person, so then I think it sometimes hits you harder when you're yourself very optimistic because you see good in everyone. But then sometimes if you get kind of the negative comments, how do you deal with that? Or especially when you first got them, because before you were kind of behind the scene. Did you get a time where like, oh, I should really just go back and just do behind the scene work? Or do they kind of instead motivate you?
I think so when I first started getting them, I had already been kind of doing this for a while. So, you know, I'm kind of the kind of person who's like, okay, if this is what I want to do and I'm doing it, I'm not going to change because of something small. So I think like when you do get negative comments, like the first thing is that you do need thick skin, like you need it. And it's not going to block everything out. It's kind of like sunscreen. Like you have to put it on and like you're still going to get like some rays from the sun. But if you don't put it on, like you're just going to get burned. So like you need to like train yourself. You need to have thick skin. And so like, you know, like less of the comments will like break through. And then the second thing is to have like a support system, like people who are doing something similar or who might, like they don't have to be doing the exact same thing as you, but if they also experience like a similar type of negativity, you know, I can go to like Brian and I can be like, there are these people online, like I know that it's like dumb, like I know I shouldn't be thinking about it, but you know,
just need another voice.
yeah, they're all saying that I'm fat and that really hurt me. So like, and just like, you know, talk, like vent and then, you know, like talk it out. Yeah. And then the third thing is like when it's really kind of getting to you, just like stop and think and be like, who is sending these comments? Because like us or like everyone sitting here, like I feel like none of us have like sent out a comment, be like, you're the worst person ever, you are ugly and fat. Like, because we don't need to. Like, you know, we're living our lives, like we're happy, like we have things to do, like, you know, we're in school, we have a job, like there's nothing in us like compelling us to go online and leave hateful comments. So I'm like, so who are the people who are? Like, they have nothing better to do. Like, they're filled with negativity. Like, the only thing that they can think to do to like release this negative energy is to go online and send out like hateful comments
To someone across the screen.
yeah. So it's like, okay, if they're like this kind of person, like why even bother?
Waste my time.
Yeah, it's
Just
not
don't
worth
react.
it.
And I think it's also important to differentiate between different kinds of bad comments. Sometimes you get a bad comment, you get upset, and then when you think about it, there are really different types of bad comments. Some are critical in nature, and your first reaction is you don't like them. But come to think of it, maybe they are constructive.
Help
And
you
then
grow.
other are real hater comments, which you can just ignore. I think when you do that analysis by yourself, you sort of get to know why you really are upset. Can you take a critical, constructive comment? If you can, then you're fine. Just dismiss and ignore all the other hater comments, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, personally, I completely agree with what's been said, but social media, how I understand hate and violence online, this industry, social media, is designed for us to watch things we like. The algorithms are going to always try to give us things similar to what we like. And sadly, social media does infiltrate some kind of hatred among some groups. It's unavoidable. It's something we cannot change.
It's true.
It's the essence of this industry. So if you know that anyways there will be people who their views and opinions will be defined by some very narrowed media or some narrow mindset, and when they see you, it's against exactly all their values because they cannot get out of that cycle, and they're, as you said, they waste their time hating on others. You just gotta accept that you're gonna enter this industry, and it will happen. And once you know it's gonna happen, you prepare for it. You know, you expect it, and when it hits, it doesn't hurt as much. But it doesn't hurt. It does hurt a little again. So I cry to Lila again. I'm serious. We had some tough times. I gotta tell you, I had some tough times.
Yeah.
But it's not because. But I understand the essence of the industry, and I do hope that social media platforms do move to fight against that. It's really, really painful to people that we're trying to bring positivity to cross-cultural communications, and it's being ruined by a lot of what social media does. Like, we're in the social media, but social media ruins us.
True.
So it's like, what to do? We're like the 5% positive.
It's like a vicious circle.
Yeah, and I think there is gonna be good future. I don't think we're not gonna fight against it. You know, governments and companies and users are gonna notice it, and we're gonna fight against it. But until then, till it gets better, we should be prepared.
Well, basically, it comes with the job. Just know it
Yeah,
comes
I
with the
think
job.
that's how I
It's
see
part
it,
of the
yeah.
job.
I think
Really.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I
of
think there's
course.
just like one thing to add is that it's not only us who are like fighting off these comments. A lot of our followers also do.
Yes.
'Cause,
Everybody
like,
does.
Yeah, because sometimes like I'll get a comment that's like mean or sometimes just kind of inappropriate. You know, sometimes being a female, you just get inappropriate comments. And then, you know, a lot of my like followers, they'll, you know, comment back and be like, that was out of pocket, that was inappropriate, like why, you know, like, you know, fighting for me, standing up for me. And so it's not only us, it's also our followers. And I always feel like really, really thankful and just really positive when, you know, people are standing up for me.
It's like your online support team. Your
Yeah.
offline support team and your online support team.
Yeah.
I mean, Serena, do you feel that because with TV station, mainstream TV, we sometimes are shielded from a lot of these comments because it's not an interactive session. But now that you guys are coming on social media, are you guys prepared to do that?
Yeah, well, or just before that, just to let you guys know, we're not only on TV, but we're on all of the
The social
social media
medias now.
platforms. So we have CGT on Twitter, Facebook, Weibo, whatever, you name it. The thing you can think of it, yeah, we are there. So I feel like I'm like lucky than you guys because I don't get like a horrible comments at all. I remember there used to be like occasionally there used to be like one or two comments like, oh, she's having a very heavy Chinese accent. So that's like occasionally I get comments like this, and then sometimes I get comments like, you know, what if you like tell the story from this and that perspective? That's, you know, that comments I really
critical.
Yes, I really value those comments. So that got me thinking, oh, maybe I could have like, you know, see the story from a different perspective, or maybe I could like cut the videos in a different way, that type of thing. But speaking of all that, we are also viewers. we are also social media users, meaning that we are like sometimes comment on other people's views or videos or things like that. So one example, I'm not sure whether you guys have heard about Adrian Zink. He's a German-based huge critic on Xinjiang issues. So I was on Twitter the other day. I can't remember exactly what I said. I just comment on something he said, super ridiculous. I was kind of debunking the rumors he was saying. I was like, this is totally not make sense. So if you have never been to Xinjiang, you should just shut your mouth or something like that. And then it ended up, he blocked me on Twitter. So my point is everybody has their own views, has their own opinions. As long as it's not horrible, I think we should be prepared to, you will be judged by your viewers or even by person who is sitting right next to you. So once you wanna get into the industry, so you should be prepared.
Something I think is highly effective, and I've used this numerous times to comfort my friends who are going through these problems, is that you will only have haters when you have made it. Basically, if you're nobody.
Exactly, you made your point. That's why.
Yeah, when you're nobody, nobody's gonna hate you
Exactly.
and send you all those mean comments. So I just
Not really though. Just
no.
sometimes we just started. I don't like you. Yeah, what I do. Yeah, it sometimes happens. Yeah.
For no
That
reason
doesn't
at
For no
all.
reason. Yeah.
And then they can be blocked.
Yeah.
They can be blocked, yeah. Allow yourself to do that. I mean, I allow myself to do that, just sort of to massage my heart. I mean, thick skin, big heart.
I mean, it is tough with social media. Is you're really putting yourself out there. And especially, it's not, sometimes with journalism, you're dealing with facts, you're just dealing with stories. But with a lot of things that kind of Raz, Lila, and Brian are doing, is they're really putting their personality out there as well. So sometimes the comments that do come are more personal than kind of the comments that we probably get as journalists or presenters. So I can definitely understand, but we just hope that it won't discourage anyone from kind of picking up their phone, picking up a camera, and just documenting, because there will be people that like you. A huge proportion of people will like you because we're all very kind as humans. Right?
I want to add something for foreigners making content in China.
Yeah, how's that like?
There's a lot about your Chinese level. It's like people judge your Chinese. And I think a lot of people, even I have friends who just don't want to speak out Chinese. They can speak, but they're scared to make this little mistake. I have got tens of thousands of comments about my Chinese level from Brian.
So that's a haters gonna hate, right?
No, it's what I'm trying to say is that my Chinese is not as great, but I get a lot of talking about my Chinese from Chinese friends, and also can be other foreigners, but mainly Chinese. And I take it as a cool thing. I'm not trying to take it as a confidence. It's a confidence. It's not it kills my confidence. Sorry.
Not offensive.
It's not as offensive because
yeah.
I think it's constructive and it's fun. And actually,
Yeah.
you can play on it. I call it tsihei, just make fun
Yeah.
of yourself. I said it wrong.
Self-deprecation
so
is
what?
good.
It's okay, but some people have a really good level and their expectation of Chinese is so high, and they can set the standard. Me is not. I'm not as good in Chinese, so it doesn't have to have something. You don't have to be perfect at something.
Yeah.
And
Well,
those,
unless you're
yeah.
trying.
Yeah, so the comment on your language, also in your English or Chinese,
Yeah.
don't take it too personally. Just
a
own
learning
it.
process.
Let's see how they try to learn this language and see what they say. So,
You
I
simply
think
don't
that's-
have to be perfect to have fans or followers. Sometimes when you play with it, that's how they like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what draws people to watch your videos. They don't want to watch somebody speaking perfect Chinese.
Actually, some days they do.
Sometimes they do.
I'm kidding, of course.
But you're
yeah.
unique
But
because of
you
who
gotta
you
be
are.
who you are, You can't pretend who you're not.
Yeah, be
You
truthful,
know?
be authentic. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
Even
be
if there's gonna be
authentic,
haters,
don't be worried.
just be yourself. And I think we're coming up to kind of the last section of the show, the funnest part, and that's why we have all the food around here. But I think before that, it would be good to kind of gauge a quick sentence of kind of where do you want to be in the future, because it's a lot of you didn't plan this to happen, or you didn't think you were going to be on a particular show for so long. I mean, what does the future hold for you guys?
In consistence with what we've talked about, a lot of times you don't really know.
Right.
You really are figuring out every step of the way.
Go with the
and
flow.
Go with the flow. You don't have a set goal on where you want to be, the numbers you want to achieve. You really want to know where this life takes you. Yeah.
I have a friend that the other day we were talking about like the job that we do, right? And then social media started like a couple of years ago. It's not 20 years industry, right? So what we are talking is like now the position of China in the world and the connection that is having China with the rest of the world, we are part of that. So it's like it's so important. The thing that we are trying to do is like to try to understand each other, and we are one of the first people that we are doing it. So he said to me, "Can you imagine in 20 years when the world will be like more connected, even more connected? You will be one of the first that did this." You know, it's like it's such an important job, and I said, "Wow, you're right." So what I see is like we will get more into it and keep working for what we want to do. It's like we want a world without war or without how to say like conflicts, and we want to understand each other from people because we are normal people that we want to connect with normal people. So that's what we want, and then probably we can make an effort for this to happen. So that's what I think. Yeah.
That's nice.
I know we're wrapping things up, but this just hit me. Without knowing where you will be tomorrow or down the road, this job that you're doing, however you position yourselves, do you feel secure? Do you feel this is sustainable? Yosu?
I think it is sustainable. It is becoming a proper job. No?
Yeah, it's a real job. It's a 24/7 job
Yeah,
sometimes.
it is becoming. There's a lot more know-how, methodologies. We say it's SOP. It's like industry saying of how you like, fanfalon and all this. There's ways to package it up, to make it work short-term, medium-term, long-term. There's a way. However, it can also be a short-term cycle. It can be a jump and a drop. So you got to be prepared always for other things too. It can sometimes, this kind of social media success can be short-term, and there's many factors to impact it. So you're actually feeling the insecurity can come about quite often, I got to say. But I have a confidence seeing that I'm involved in this industry, as Brian said, as we pioneered this early on, that it's becoming more and more professional and more people are entering it. And that's a good news for everyone. And I feel more secure about the future in this one.
Lila, are you thinking about or worried about what happens after 15 minutes, 15 months, 15 years?
I could be, but I'm not. Because I feel like in the social media and entertainment industries, everything develops and moves so quickly. So, even if I did say, this is my 10-year plan, this is my 15-year plan, when it's 10 years in the future, like there's like a 99% chance that everything that I was planning will just be completely irrelevant. So what I try to do is set more short-term goals and then really just like ride the wave, like see where this is taking us, keep up with like all of like the new industry, like trends, like what is happening in this market, in this industry. And then, just continue to keep learning and studying and improving and riding this wave. And then also use it not only for, our own like media platforms, but also to help more people do this and provide our own help and experience, especially people who, are in this cross-cultural communication area and really, come together and pool our experiences and just make it a better industry and hopefully, make it a little bit of a better world.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, wow.
That's great.
When we started, there was short videos. It was like 5 minutes, like YouTube, Bilibili, Weibo, maybe. And then next thing you know, Douyin comes about and Kuaishou, and you have like vertical videos, and they're showing you like, what? How do you do that? And we went through this. That give us, you're like, what? How do you adjust to this new format? And I'm sure 2 years later, it's going to be another.
Something else is going to
You got to be prepared, guys.
especially with 5G coming in. So I think it's like a absolute
it's
learning
constantly changing.
process.
And I think you need help, you need support in this. We need systems, we need platforms that give you boost of confidence, give you a methodology, helps you grow. And that's what we do as well. Yeah, we really hope to make the industry better and make people feel more secure doing it. That's also part of our mission for the future.
And what is great is like it's in the reach of everyone actually because
Yeah.
it's on the phone. So if you have a phone, you can make your own content. It's just as simple as that.
And people like it amateur.
Yeah.
People like amateur videos
Yeah.
instead of professionally produced, exquisite videos.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and like, I mean, future-wise, I just want to add about the future is that I believe that what I really want to continue doing in the future is what I did from the day one, is that I cannot do it on my own. My mission in the next 20 years is, and we're trying to explain a more diverse, dynamic image of China, and also showing the Chinese people a more dynamic, real image of the world. It requires a lot of effort for a lot of people together. So if we can inspire and help more and more people enter this and do it, can be a culture ambassador.
Yeah.
Or just somebody that loves what you do. You love doing some, entertainment, or it can be beauty, travel, food.
Sports,
We would love to inspire more people to do it, and that's also what here CGT and the whole talent, media
Exactly.
talent competition is about. If we can inspire 1,000 more people, 10,000 more people, then that's my goal. Like inspire others and help them grow, and then I grow. I cannot grow myself, so yeah, that is my future goal.
I think you said everything that we wanted to say. You're like an ambassador to the media challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping us end on CGTN.
I mean, do we
And
have?
I wanna,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I want to add one thing. Like for those of you who are interested in entering the news industry, so I feel like at the end of the day, we are storytellers, we are content creators. So I'm sure the technology is changing like very fast. So no matter what kind of platforms it will be in the future, whether it could be like TikTok, it could be like Bilibili, whichever is growing in the future. But I think the core would still be the content you create.
That's the most important.
Narrow
Yeah.
well, huh?
Exactly. Content is king. So guys, just pick up your phone and enter the competition. And also, we've been talking for like an hour already.
Wow.
Do we have any questions from the floor? This is your chance to ask the experts.
Chance to shine.
No, we have a shy crowd.
Don't be
Come, you have to be
shy.
shameless and thick skin, remember?
So we asked them then.
what do you want to ask them?
No, I don't have any questions, sorry.
The first thing I ask people in the street sometimes is like, "Oh, where'd you buy your shirt? I like it." You can ask me where I got my shirt. I mean,
It's a nice
icebreaker,
crisp
icebreaker.
white shirt. Oh, go ahead.
Yay.
Do you need the mic or?
Hello, I'm a sophomore from Renmin University of China, and I'm starting to produce content after my graduation from high school. So usually I just share something about my study experience, but I feel like when I'm in college, I'm very young and I'm still learning. So I think sometimes that my opinion is too childish, and I'm always afraid that my opinion won't be recognized by my followers. And I know that there are some kind of 流量密码 that you can learn. You can get, you can raise your scores in just 3 days. But I think that kind of things are very similar, and that's meaningless. So I don't know how to make this kind of balance. You need the concentration, you need to get attention, but you want to create something that is really useful to your followers. Yeah, I think that's a kind of dilemma, and I don't know how to deal with it.
That's a really good question. Who would like to take it on?
You want me to take it on? It's a great question. It's a wonderful question because it's the same question we have every day. It's what I wake up with this question. It's great you did the first step, first of all. That's the most important, I think. You're in it. And once you're in it, all these questions are going to come up. Is there like a 3-day 流量密码, like traffic secrets?
Yeah.
Is there a way to keep them informed? You're asking the right questions. This is for me, my simple answer to this is that attitude is correct already. You just need to keep going. Don't give up. Don't be let down by low numbers or no response. I think you're already in the right way. You're thinking for your followers. You're thinking to bring them value, and you're trying to figure out some of these in the middle, some of these tweaks, like a trending topic that comes. You can bring your angle. It may be a really topic you really care about. You spend like 2 weeks working on this one tiny video, and keep doing that. And it will come. You'll see results. Might not be happen today, maybe not next month, but soon it will happen. And I think you're on the right path, so well done. Really, congratulations for you for starting.
I'll just link to it.
Yeah.
And there's other can also.
I have something to add. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Because I would say don't underestimate yourself, and also don't underestimate your followers. You know, you say, I'm worried that, you know, my opinion isn't, you know, good enough for my followers. If they're following you, you're good enough. Like, you're very good. If you think about, like, you as a social media user, how many people do you come across, you click follow, you subscribe, you comment, you like? Not a lot. It's only the videos where you're like, wow, I really like this video, I really like this person, I want to give them, you know, my comments, like my engagement. It's not a lot. So the people who are doing that with you, they really like your content and they really like you. And don't worry about being too young, because maybe to someone who's like 40, you're like a child, but a lot of your followers, they might be in like high school or middle school, so you're like a 姐姐 to them, like you're their example. So they think that you're amazing and that's why they're following you. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
We have another one.
In the middle. Oh, we're getting more.
Hello, I am a second-year student at Peking University studying journalism and communication. And so I also have my media channel, social media channel, producing content related to China and my experience in China. Because I grew up in Korea. I was born in Korea, I grew up in New Zealand. And I feel like I have the ability to 接受 a lot of cultures and 文化方面. So I wanted to create videos about China, Chinese culture, my experience coming to China, of course, because of the coronavirus. Not many foreigners can come back to China, and wanted to share my experience. But I started creating videos about the quarantine, my quarantine in China, and then how I came back to China and gained pretty much quite a lot of followers on Instagram and YouTube from that. But then now I started studying, and then I started having this question to myself, like, do I have the consistency of my theme or like what I want to create? Like, I also ask myself, what kind of content do I want to create? I'm interested in culture, history, or society and entertainment, a lot of aspects, but then I didn't know if I want to touch in all variety of content in my YouTube videos, or if I wanted to go for one theme and, you know, just dig into one deep theme. So I will just, that's what I'm worried about. So because if I don't have the consistency in my videos and my content, and I feel like my followers or my subscribers won't have, because some people follow me for my quarantine videos, or some people follow me for my, I don't know, travel logs, but then if I started creating other things, would they still like my videos? Would they still subscribe me? Would they still watch my videos? So it's one of the things what I worry about when I'm creating my videos these days. So did you have that experience, or how did you overcome this question, if you did? So that's my question.
I watched their videos, they're great. I watched all of them.
I mean, from a mainstream media perspective, because we run a lot of channels and a lot of shows, the reason we do that is just so that we can touch a lot of audiences. Some people like current affairs, some people like culture, and some people like sports. And when you're talking about kind of what content you create, and I think earlier we touched about that, kind of diversifying or kind of showing all sides of you. And especially when you look at YouTube, a lot of really old YouTubers, or the OGs, they're actually diversifying from the the old content. So for example, you might only do makeup. The things like they'll have a blog page, they'll have a separate channel, because there's no investment in doing that. So I think don't be afraid to break out from you're currently doing your mainstream, because you can always have branches. And that's what we do at CGTN anyway, as a channel. It's just so you can have a better broad base of audience, because you said some people watch you for your quarantine, some people watch you for something else, and you already have that two groups. I mean, if you only do the quarantine, you only have the audience for your quarantine. So that's why the more content you do, it's going to be a lot more hard work, but the more content you do, you're definitely going to get more audiences. That's my take.
And I think everyone has the same question when you are developing your contents. I mean, I asked the same question to Lila just now. I think my takeaway is that you got to stay true to yourself. Sometimes, you know, we're always on the lookout for what my viewers or followers would want to see, but sometimes there is leeway to experiment and to really let yourself out a little bit. You can experiment with diversifying a little bit with this branch, and if it doesn't work as well, you can always come back. I mean, there has to come to a point where you say, I want to try this.
Yeah.
Whether it works is a different story.
And I think,
And-
Go
ahead.
I've interviewed a lot of the KOLs, influencers, social medias, and I think one thing that's in common with a lot of people is that for contents that they really design and think that are going to go viral, probably don't do as well. But the thing is, like, there might be a content they just kind of did on a whim. A thought came, an inspiration came, and I thought, I'll just do it, I'll try it, because I can just pick up my camera and do it. And then that just hit viral. And I think that's what it is sometimes, is just really kind of getting all those contents down and see what works.
And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like most of the social media followers, you follow the person because of his or her personality.
Yeah.
So if you like, if I like Gao Yousi, I like Xingyue, I like Gong Bingyang a lot, then I might probably watch
Everything they do.
Yes, exactly. Every episode of whatever they do. I'm not sure whether this is the case, but for me, I feel like it's more about your own personality to
You
attract
will
your
like
viewers.
some videos more, some less, but then you will stay with this person
Exactly.
because of their personality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I think what she was asking is like a consistency thing about like as a content creator what you will think. So what I think is like you have to focus on what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And that will be the motivation that you need to keep going. So if you do kind of content that you don't like, you'll say, oh no, this week I will not do it.
No motivation.
Yeah, and you don't have the motivation to keep going. But if you find the thing that you like, you will be happy to do it, and then you will show it through your videos, and your audience will love it. So that's what you have to do. How do you have to focus? I think. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
And I heard, like a little bit of like worry in your voice when you're saying, like I got these followers, like in like 好不容易, like I got these followers and they came for this content. Like how do I like keep them here? Like what should I do, that they will like it? But if you're always thinking about like what do they want, like you're going to be pulled by them and you're gonna feel like 被他们绑架. Like, they're there for you. Like, they're not there for the quarantine. He had a quarantine vlog, he had a quarantine vlog. They didn't watch their quarantine vlogs, like they watched yours. So, they're there for you, like Serena said. And so when it comes to that, especially when it's like so early on, like you just started, like you don't have like a whole, do you have a lot of videos out right now? Yeah, so you just started. So, at this like very early stage, like you don't need to be thinking about, how to like keep them engaged. Like just do what you want and they'll follow you.
Experiment.
And also, of course, when you are creating contents, think of yourself as a follower at the same time. Think of like why I'm following Gao Yousi, why I'm following Xingyue. Then you will figure out a way. Maybe that's could be the reason why those followers are following me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll just add, I agree completely. There's so many great things here. I'll add like practical advice. When I meet a lot of these issues again. Like your followers come from one video and you don't know how to keep the next video. Consistency as well. When I get lost about what's my purpose, what am I doing? I do one simple thing. I call it 5W plus H. You guys know this one, right?
Yeah.
And I use this philosophy called Start With Why by Simon Sinek, which is the golden circle, where you start, basically you write down, you get a note, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, why, who, where, when, what, and then how.
How.
Why is like, and that's the order. First, why you're doing what you're doing. Write it down, just whatever it is. There's a purpose you're doing this. Why you want to be famous, you want to influence the world, you want to, pay the depth of your money. I don't know. There's many reasons.
Your mission.
Your mission. You want to make the world understand China better. And then the question after that is who. Because a lot of these things are not alone. This journey, you're not alone. You need like a team to help. You need a friend. It could be a grandma to help you. You never know. Anyone can help, but somebody needs to be there. If you're also amazing at everything, you don't need anyone sometimes. But who? And then you go to where, which means which audience you're talking to, where are they, and which platform are they on, and which platform you're going to start. I recommend you not to start with all platforms. Like start simple, if you're Douyin maybe, or
Yeah.
TikTok, or Bilibili, whatever you think, you start with one, and then it goes to when, which is so important. How long are you willing to try? Give yourself as night and write it down. Give yourself 1 month, 2 months, a year, and stick to it. Like, and then lastly is what? What is the end? What is after you realize these things? You're like, okay, what can I do? What am I really good at? What's my niche? And then later, how? You gotta plan. You gotta start planning, you know? And then you gotta commit to it. I'm gonna make 10 videos this month, or this like.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't even. I like 2 months, right? But like, it's a methodology that I use when I'm confused, and you can always revisit it, you know? And it really helps you. A lot of times I recommend this to a lot of people, and it helped them, and also helps me. So,
That's like the universal principles.
Yeah, that's what we use in TV as well.
yeah, it helps. It really helps. It's
I
simple,
think he
basic.
just did his name justice.
Oh my God! Wow.
He really
I
is
saw
the
the most
philosopher.
basic, simple 5 W's plus H.
Plus H.
Haha. No, H. Okay.
Excellent. Well, I think I have really bad eyesight, so I couldn't really see what our producers were putting up. But I think we're running out of time, so maybe we'll just do one round of Never Have I Ever, because I think this is also an opportunity for our fans and our audience to get to know our guests more personally, because that's what we like with social media. We like to know people more personal. We've kept this polite.
And there's no question about news. Oh my God.
Maybe
questions.
Are there?
there's probably
I'm just
questions,
joking. Yeah.
I mean, you guys can interject and ask your questions whenever, because this is a social thing. And so, do you want to start? So, does everyone know how this works?
Well,
Never have
maybe
I
explain
ever.
a little bit.
Okay, so we have questions prepared here earlier, and then each of us will pick one out. Or if you have your own questions, you can do your own question as well. And then whoever has done it. So, for example, whoever has done it will have to pick something to eat from the table. And not everything is traditionally tasty. I mean, I like everything on the table, so I don't really care. But
Whoa.
does everyone know what these are? You can probably have a taste later when we finish the show. Right. So do you want to start or shall I start? Shall I do the first one?
Why don't you start?
Okay, I better get a good one.
Is that a youtiao?
Yes.
No, this is called a jiao chuan.
Oh.
Oh.
You know, right? This is you have with
Cool shape.
dou zhi.
Daughter.
Have you had those before?
I
Dou zhi.
probably have.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Never have I ever set something on fire while cooking. Who set things on
Something
fire?
on fire.
I've set something on fire. I set the pan on fire.
No.
No, just me?
No.
We don't even cook.
Because I don't cook.
Okay. This sucks. Okay, so I'll take something that's nearer to me. This is,
My roommate counts.
my
You set your roommate on fire?
No, no,
I
my
don't
roommate
believe
cooking.
them.
Yeah.
How many of you even cook?
Yeah, I cook.
You cook?
Yeah.
No?
I mean,
I
will
cook
learn
sometimes.
And you never set things on fire?
No.
I've set the fire alarm went crazy once, and like the fire brigade nearly had to come.
And you went for the safe one. I mean, this is probably
I'll go because I'm from
the
North
safest
tasty.
looking
Yes.
on the table.
All right,
It's my turn now.
this is so good.
I've done a
Oh,
lot of
gosh.
things, so don't worry. Never have I ever listened to a full Peking opera from the beginning all the way to the end.
Full.
A full Peking opera.
I haven't been to an opera show.
Same here.
I
I
was.
feel
Same
bad
here.
I didn't.
I was.
I should have.
Yeah.
You have?
In its entirety,
Yeah. It wasn't in Beijing. It was in Wuhan, but I
What's the
did.
name? Do you remember?
I don't remember. Oh, I remember it was Yang Guifei was in there.
Oh,
But,
贵妃
yeah,
醉酒 or
醉酒
something like that.
On stage. I haven't.
Yeah. So
Pick your choosing. Pick wisely.
OK，绿岛粿我觉得可以。
Okay.
OK，I think this one is fine.
Oh, Ludagwar. How you
Yeah.
say
Haven't
it?
Had that
Gwar.
before. Gwar. You that gwar. Gwar.
The whole thing.
You want some?
Oh.
Whoa.
Good? Must have been really good.
All right, let's see.
So for me, for your next video, you can do like 吃播.
That's a weird one. Never have I ever woken up and couldn't move. That's like me this morning.
Every morning before work. For real?
Wait, what happened?
Like physically or mentally?
Couldn't move? Was it like, that sounds kind of scary.
What is it? Our
Yeah.
producers, what does that mean?
Basically, that is real. That is kind of like
It's just,
Is it like
it happens to some specific people. You
Yeah,
just
me.
wake up in the brain,
Yeah.
can't move, like,
wake up in the
is it
Oh.
wait,
Yeah.
Is it because you have
Yeah.
too much
Yeah.
drink?
How is it called in English?
I don't know.
Paralysis?
Yeah, yeah. Sleep paralysis.
Or just good old hungover.
It's like, okay, you're sleeping.
Or a hangover?
No. I'm always hungover, but sleeping paralysis happens like probably once a month in my case. Wow. And it's like, okay, you're sleeping, and then you wake up, and then you cannot move. You sort of, and then you can move. Yeah, it's sleeping paralysis. It's super scary. The first time that happened, I thought I would die. Yeah.
How long did it last?
It lasts for a very short time, but it feels like eternity.
forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you're too stressful, then you will have this kind of.
Yeah, when I have a lot of
not
stress, it
stressing
happens. Yeah.
Woman.
Yeah, but for me, it started when I was in high school. Yeah.
For some huge exam.
Wow.
Okay, so you have some dojo if you want. Here you go. Okay.
What are you going to pick next?
This one.
What is
Come
this?
on, guys.
You can have a bite. You
What
can
is
just have a
that
bite.
one?
You don't have to eat the whole thing. I don't know
is
what
that?
it is. Serena.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
This is real good.
What is that?
What is inside?
I don't know.
Dosha? Like,
No, it's not dojo. It's like ura.
导演，这个是什么？
Like a 米团 or something. Rice.
爱窝窝吗？
I want I don't know what's the name, but it's so good.
Oh, I will. We look so uncultured right now. What are we eating?
Okay.
Here's in Beijing. What is this?
Never have I ever planted vegetables in my own apartment.
Apartment?
Vegetables.
Oh, yes, I did too.
Veggies.
I think this is designed for you.
You've had a very interesting life.
Rosemary, mint, yeah, counts.
Wait, I don't think it counts. He said it's vegetables. Those are like herbs.
Herbs, like
Right.
Those
vegetable.
are herbs, right?
Yeah.
But at home I did, but it's not apartment, it counts.
And if you want to keep eating,
Yeah.
then it counts. If not, it
Pick
doesn't.
another one, I think.
Oh my
It's
god.
Maria was, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I will get
I think he
a-
just wants to eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. I'm scared about that.
Oh God. Never have I ever Googled my own name. Everybody does, right?
All right, everyone.
Everyone does.
Okay.
Just to see the photos, I'm like, good one. And then I was like, oh my god, he's the worst. Like, tell them, change it now.
All right, what are you gonna pick? What are you gonna try? What are you gonna
We're gonna
try?
try
This
a few.
safe little.
The safer?
This looks so tasty, I gotta tell you. Like, wow.
That's a
Tofu is so
ma
good.
doufu.
Okay, madofu.
It's like a tofu. It's a bit cold now. I think normally you have it hot. Try it.
Okay. It's gonna fall off. I'm just gonna
Use your cup.
above my Coke.
I'll try this as well.
Tastes like
I actually really like this.
哇，好酸啊！
酸的。
But for the record, is this the punishment or a reward? Because I'm a little confused right
Wait
now.
until you try this one, okay?
Oh my god.
How was that? Was that your first time having it?
Probably.
That one is good when it's hot.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's got a weird texture. Yeah, it's cold.
It's like tofu, but it's got beans in it still. So it's not completely 麻豆腐.
Ooh.
On that note, never have I ever edited my selfies. I need to eat the whole table.
Of course. Do you guys do it?
Is it count if someone else edits your selfies? Because if you edit it, it looks even worse than what it is. That's my case.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely. I just have it on auto mode. It's already there. I don't even need to edit. So
Does
like,
it count if it's auto?
yeah. So I'll take.
Yeah, of course.
I want to try the
nobody
dojo.
tried- yeah, I was
I'll
gonna say
try
that.
it. Should we try the dojo?
I wanna
有
try the
杯子
dojo.
吗？
Why not?
We can all try it then. I
Just
guess we
pour
all
in a
kind of
coffee mug.
edited our selfies.
We have to get the cameras ready. 就是摄像老师要准备好他们的表情。你们先，你记一下，你倒一下吧。This is your first. Who hasn't tried this before?
Here.
We tried this.
You haven't tried it?
It's gonna be the first
Not the
time.
greatest fan of it, but you know.
You do it for the
gotta do
spirit
what
of
you
the
gotta do.
game. Spirit of the game.
表情管理很重要哈。
没有管。
It's like teach something else in.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. 你
Professional.
这是一个吃 really?
The color of it never made me feel good, but the taste. Yeah.
It's like something has gone really, really bad.
But you're keeping a really good face. This is.
cheers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For dojo.
Is this what you have to do as an anchor? Just keep a straight face at all time. A poker
I think
face.
so. I think so.
All right, cheers for CGTN.
Cheers. And to media challengers. And to you
Media
guys.
challengers.
And to our audiences here today. All right.
Oh, it's delicious.
No bottoms up?
It tastes like 咸菜. Tastes like pickle.
I realize if you don't breathe when you're drinking it,
It
it's
helps.
actually okay.
Wait.
我要蘸这个吃。好像可以. Is it better?
Better.
It's much better.
Still.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. You don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up.
Yeah, yeah,
It's better if you dip it in this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let me get some. It's too far away.
I'll come reach it. There you go.
That's it.
Right. So we have a last one, and then we're wrapping this whole thing up. How's that?
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Like I'm just gonna keep eating.
I think you guys have to keep eating. Brian,
Never said no to food.
Brian as a true boy. I think we have a.
Never have I ever walked out of a movie because it was bad. No, I just fall asleep. Yeah.
Well, there we go. So before we go, maybe we have a slogan for. Are you still thinking about it?
Yeah, he's still
Maybe a word for our media challengers who are potentially gonna submit their entries. What do you have for them? Which camera do you look at? 我们看哪个相机?
Oh, there's another question.
Oh, there's another question. Sorry,
Someone
sorry.
is raising their hand.
Hi.
I have a question actually for Serena.
Oh my
And-
God, thank you.
My name is Qiu Qingyi. I'm a student from Beijing Foreign Studies University, and I'm here today also as an intern in CGTN. So as a student majoring in international journalism and communication, and also who dream of being a media practitioner in the future, as you've mentioned, feature story, and unless the breaking news, I think it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of village, the audience stalking and the mobilization. So I'm really wondering, could you please share your experience of that? You might come across any hurdles in profiling an individual, or what's a really important thing that you learn from the experience that makes you realize that helps you a lot in profiling an individual? Thank you.
That is a good question. So, so far, I haven't done any feature stories with a specific person, like profiling a specific person, but I can share with you some of the challenges doing the job. First of all, I feel like you have to be resourceful. Like you have to be socially active to get to know different types of person. But for me, it's a little bit different because you might look me as a very like open-minded, like extroverted, extroverted person. But like off my job, all I want to do is just sit in my room and watch movies and do my readings, or go to the gym. But I think that's one challenges for me personally. Like when I started the job, I started to go to a lot of social events. Either it could be with the embassies in Beijing, or like universities, or any other kind of organizations. You have to start this very step to get to know people, to get to know your sources, and then you have to keep this sort of relationship with them. So once there is a story, so you might be the first person to break the story. So I think that's one challenge for me. And apart from that, I feel like everything went well with me. Like personally, I don't see other challenges as being a journalist. But one thing is like once you are on the job, time is not yourself. It does not belong to yourself. You just have to. Well, even now I have like a go-to pack in my room, so like I could be caught up for breaking news within 30 minutes. So I still keep like the my carry-on luggage with all the daily necessities like simple shirts and trousers and pants, like the shoes and everything. So just to be prepared, you could be caught up anytime to go to breaking news. It could be an earthquake. It could be for instance, Tianjin explosion. That one, it actually occurred in the middle of the night, I remember. So actually that night I was at a bar with the friends. so I just like called up, my producer just called me like, oh, Serena, you've alerted about the Tianjin explosion, right? I was like, yeah, I know. There's a huge blast happened in the chemical plant in Tianjin. So he was like, okay, be prepared. We'll meet you in the office in 30 minutes. And then I just like rushed back home and get my luggage and go to the office. And then we drove all the way to Tianjin. And then after that, I stayed 1 week there covering the explosion. Yeah.
So we have to establish a good relationship with your interviewee and
Yes.
always be prepared.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
that's your source.
Okay.
Yeah, that helps you to like break the story.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Fantastic.
I hope I answer your questions.
Always be prepared.
Yes, always be prepared.
Excellent. So maybe we have a final round to our media challengers.
You go ahead.
Join Media Challengers and realize your full potential.
Join media challengers. Please pick up your cameras, your phones, anything you have, and submit your entries. Good luck.
Join Media Challengers. Really, join now.
Join Media Challengers and see the difference with us.
Join Media Challengers. Even if you think you can't, you probably can.
Oh, that's nice.
I love that.
Wow, so much pressure.
Watch Brian.
That's your slogan. So much pressure.
So much pressure.
As a social media professional.
Join Media Challengers. Have fun with it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you to our guests for giving up your Sunday mornings, even though all of you work kind of 24 hours. We pulled you out from something else, another project. And thank you also to our audience here today. I know you guys have a really busy schedule. I think a lot of you are also in exam mode. So good luck. Good luck with your exams. Hope you pass them with flying colors. You heard it from the man. You heard it from the man. All right. And hopefully you guys will also enter our Media Challenger. Don't be afraid to do you. And also thank you so much for everyone that's watching online, on mobile, on screen, or on your TV screens.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's our wrap for today.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.